This is Gary O'Brien here now to review my second pay-per-view review of 1997. This is WWF In Your House 13, the Final Four. Oh, excuse me. This was taking place in Tennessee. Like, there's only, I think, less than 7,000 at this event. And I must say, this little pay-per-view has actually surprised me. It's a very good pay-per-view, 10 times better than what the Royal Rumble was. I have 5 matches on this. I do believe the In Your House pay-per-views were only less than 2 hours, which is kind of cool. You don't want every pay-per-view being like fucking 3. Like, it's an option of only having a couple of matches on pay-per-view, which is kind of cool. I did like the In Your House. Some of the In Your House pay-per-views were actually pretty good. Some news-worthy items here before we start the pay-per-view itself. That Thursday before, on Thursday it was called or something. Shawn Michaels said that he was injured. His knee was basically needed surgery, and said he lost his smile. So he was obviously going to vacate the WWF title. And obviously I do remember seeing this on the WWF the HBK DVD from 2007, which I probably think was a load of BS, obviously, because obviously he didn't want to drop the title to Bret Hart, obviously at WrestleMania, which was supposedly supposed to happen. So obviously the injury was probably legit, obviously, but I don't think, basically it was just convenient timing that it happened. Just obviously he didn't want to lose it, and Bret Hart obviously was very kind of bitter about that as the years go along, as you can see over that year itself. Other thing, obviously Sid Vicious. No, it's not. Sorry. What else happened here? So that's basically it. So he would have not losing to Bret Hart and basically losing his smile and blah blah blah. So which is funny enough that Sid Vicious actually is not on this match. He's going to get his title match the next night on Raw. So whoever wins the WWF title basically holds it for 24 hours. Well, not even 24 hours or whatever, but what can you do? So we'll get on with this. First match was the Wild Man Marc Mero defeating Leif Cassidy, aka Al Snow, in a very, very good opening match. Now I must say I give it 2 1/4 star. I thought it was a very good opening match. Now I'll tell you one thing, the crowd again though, I'm going to probably say this throughout the video, we're dead. I just don't get why the crowd are so dead. Some of the first maybe 3 matches were very poor, but the first 3 matches, we say the first match was good, the other 2 matches were very poor, but still, both pay-per-views now that I've done so far, the crowd have been absolutely terrible. Like, this crowd, obviously it's not much of a wrestling town maybe or something, I don't know. Maybe WWF probably should have went to more wrestling based towns basically, but sure, look, what can you do. Some nice wrestling at the start from Mero with some nice arm drag takedowns. Then he works on Cassidy's arm for a bit, and then obviously then he works on Mero's knee. Nice leg drop then from the ropes by Mero, gets a 2 count. Nice drop kick then to the knees to Mero from Cassidy twice, really, and that really kind of works. Then he goes to work the knee throughout the whole match, which is good psychology. Nice spinning leg lock then from Cassidy, which again the crowd was dead, didn't give 2 shits. And then Mero then rolls him up to get a 2 count, and then Cassidy puts on a figure 4 leg lock, which was nice. In the middle of this, then he stopped and went out to argue then with Sable, and Sable kind of was backing away, and then she just pops him basically. Then Marc Mero gets a crossbody, kind of runs through him through the second and third rope onto him. Mero then hits Cassidy hit his head off the mat twice. Then a Samoan drop, and then he goes up then for the shooting star press, which gets the win, which was a very good way to open up the match, open up the pay-per-view, I must say, because I think if the second or third match had to open it up, it would have been kind of very flat then, but sure. As I've said, a very good opening match, and I'll give this 2 1/4. So next then we have, who do we have next? We have Farooq, Crush, and Savio Vega defeating Goldust, Bart, Gunn, and Flash Funk in what was a very, very poor match. Funny thing about this was, I don't even remember Goldust actually doing anything. When they were brawling, fair enough, he was doing something, but I don't think he was actually tagged in this match. But it didn't last very long, but still. But the 3 baby faces dominate at the start of this match. Flash Funk jumps off the top rope onto all 3 member nations. and then into the inside of the ring, Farooq hits a lovely spine buster to Goldust. That was probably the only thing he done probably. Gunn then throws Flash Funk again out onto the Tree Nation member, but this time it backfires. Farooq then clotheslines him, basically gets owned. Crush them with a nice spike pile driver on Funk, which gets a 2, and then a nice belly to belly then. Gunn gets the hot tag, cleans house, and then gets a nice little power slam on Farooq, which then leads to another brawl. Gunn then gets a Bulldog off the top rope, and then goes over to cover, and Crush just basically just jumps on his head, and that gets the win, which very strange really, because like he just drop kicked him, basically on a leg drop onto his head. I've seen it happen before on I think a couple of occasions, but it's just a bit of a weird ending to what was a very poor match, really, to be quite honest. So 1 star if you're being kind, basically, you know. But so yeah. Next then we have Rocky Maivia beating Hunter Hearst Helmsley to retain the WWF Intercontinental title, and what again was another poor match, and yet again the crowd were for fuck's sake. I am really getting sick and tired. Yeah, fair enough, the match wasn't great, but if the crowd kind of gave him a bit of a lift, it might give them more of a chance to be a bit more fluent. But too many arm drags from Rocky at the start, and God, Jerry King Lawler pissed me off, annoyed me throughout most of this pay-per-view. I never liked Jerry Lawler, from being honest. Like, he's probably a nice guy behind his character back then, but and now even. But like, God, he wanks over everything. Where was I? Triple H gets back into it with an elbow outside the ring, and then a boring chin lock is put in by Triple H. Triple H then goes for his trusty move, the high knee, which only gets a 2, a backbreaker, and another fucking those fucking headlock things or chin lock, whatever. Yet again, dead for the match. You hear a little Rocky chant, but that's a bit fucking it. Triple H then gets on top of the rope, but Rocky punches him, then an atomic drop and a crossbody, which gets a 2 count. A bad looking DDT gets 2 for the Rock, which it looked really fucking bad. It was terrible. Triple H then gets a 2 from a face buster, and then Goldust comes out and distracts him by touching him, to touch him himself, and basically just showing him his ass, basically. What the fuck, base? A suplex from the Rock gets the win, which was another very bad match. Gets 1 star and a fair rating, really. Then after the match, Goldust is about to fight Triple H, and then this big massive woman just gets a hold of Marlene and chokes her, which obviously it turns out now to be China, and that's where China kind of probably began her career. So, as I said, a 1 star match. Yay! Next up, who's next? Oh yes, Owen Hart. Doug Furnas and Phil Lafon defeat the Owen Hart and the British Bulldog by disqualification, and what was a very, very good match. Now, the last 2 matches of the card were excellent, like really good matches. I'll tell you what, I really enjoyed this tag team match. Just wish the match didn't finish in obviously a disqualification, but look, what can you do? Good start the match. Owen and Doug done some good stuff. Owen then and Lafon doing basically pinning each other several times, which was quite nice. Owen then with a nice gut wrench suplex on Doug Furnas, and then gets a backbreaker, which gets a 2 count. Yeah, again, the crowd were fucking dead. So that's about the 5th time I've moaned about that. Double clothesline from both Bulldog and Hart. Then Bulldog comes in, then has Lafon in a suplex position, basically gets him up in the air. It thinks he's going to do a suplex, and then Owen Hart just gets on the top rope, jumps off and does a crossbody, which only gets a 2 count. Then both Bulldog and Owen then start arguing. Basically, obviously they've been having problems. Obviously, it's not just the Royal Rumble thing and all that. It looks like Bulldog is actually going to do a face turn. But then Lafon gets their heads together and just smashes him, which was quite nice. Owen accidentally then heel kicks Bulldog, and the Bulldog clotheslines Owen, which wasn't by accident. Drop kick then from Furnas gets 2. Nice belly to belly gets 2 for Furnas. Then a double team DDT on Owen Hart, which looked absolutely brilliant. It was fantastic. That gets a 2. I love the insecurity from Owen Hart onto I think it was Doug Furnas, and then he gets basically, but the British Bulldog has him up to do his power slam, which would have probably ended the match. But what does Owen Hart? Hits Doug into the back with the slammy, which ruins the match really. Like, it could have easily went, if it went another 6 or 7 minutes, it probably would have been nearly a 4-star match. But sure, look, the match was good enough anyway. It was 3 1/4 stars. It would have been 4 if the match had ended in a better way. But look, sure, what can you do? You can't always get what you want in this life. So yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of weeks with Bret, with Owen, and the British Bulldog. Where were we? Next match then is Bret Hart winning the WWF Championship in the 4-corner elimination match against Stone Cold, Vader, and the Undertaker, which was an absolute fantastic match. A really, really good match. Surprisingly good match, actually, I must say, because I wasn't kind. I don't know. I thought the tag team match would have been a better, just considering the fact that Vader was in the match. Like, Vader's not the greatest, and Stone Cold is still quite green, and obviously I know Bret Hart he's obviously a great wrestler, and Undertaker also, but no, a surprisingly good match. Taker and Vader fight each other whilst Owen and Austin Bret and Austin. So obviously the two feuds going at it. Taker gets a clothesline of Vader and does his usual walk the rope move on Austin. This was on Austin now. Then Vader with a nice belly to belly on the Undertaker. Taker then hits Vader with a chair. Like, Vader gets a chair and Taker puts his boot up. He smacks right off the side of his head. Oh, busted him right. A good blade job too, actually, I must say, by Vader. Like, they only get like a split second to do, and he done a good job. Like, after a while, you can see it all over his side of his face. This side of his face, his eye basically swells up as well. Excuse me. Taker gets a chokeslam then on Vader. Hart gets a backbreaker on Austin, which gets only a 2 count. Vader then works on Hart with some chair shots. Austin gets a neckbreaker on Undertaker, which only gets the 2 count. Taker then backdrops Austin onto the concrete, which looked very fucking sore. Austin then hits Vader in the face with the steps, and then Austin then just throws it at fucking Vader. Then Austin then uses the belt to hit Vader in the top, where his wound was, basically, and then something funny happens. Vader puts the sharpshooter on fucking Bret Hart, which it works perfectly. Austin tries to eliminate Taker, but basically Bret Hart throws him then, so Austin's out of the match, first out, which was surprising. Paul Bearer, like he did at the Royal Rumble, hits Taker with the iron into the skull. Austin comes back again and goes after Bret. Vader takes off his mask and you can see how busted up he was. Vader then goes for the Vader bomb. Taker just sits up and just throws him fucking out then with a low blow. So it's between Taker and Bret for the Taker gets a choke slam then on Bret and goes for tombstone, but Austin breaks that up and then Austin hits Taker, punches Austin, and then as soon as he turns around he gets clotheslined out of the ring, and Bret Hart is the new WWF champion. And what was a very, very good match, I must say. 4 stars, I'm going to give it easily. It was a very good match, and almost went 25 minutes too, which actually, to be honest, I must say I enjoyed the match because it didn't feel like a 25 minute. You know it's a good match if you didn't know how long it was. So obviously then Bret will face Sid Vicious the next night on Raw. We obviously know how all that ended up. Sid basically Bret held the title for 24 hours. So yeah. So overall, the pay-per-view, like, for a 5-match card, like, it was a very good show. Besides, if the Rock and Triple H match had been a little bit better, like, you'd be talking about nearly an almost flawless card, except for the 6-man tag match. Other than that, like, it was very good, really, really good. I really enjoyed watching it. So overall, I'm going to give the pay-per-view a 6.25, which ain't too bad for a 5-match. Like, that's basically the definition of an 8, really, but like for a 2-hour show, like, that's absolutely brilliant. That'd be like watching an episode of Raw, basically. But overall, a very good pay-per-view. So obviously, the next video in the series will be WrestleMania 13, which probably won't be made till next week, which is going to take me a while to watch. I probably will start watching that tonight. Which, what day is it today? Thursday. So I'll be watching that tonight and probably might upload it either Sunday or Monday. So this was Gary O'Brien, and I'm going to sign out, and I will talk to you all soon. Thank you very much for watching, lads. And please hit the subscribe button, and please comment down below. Take care, guys.